Hi, I'm Dee with Makeration, and today we're going to make bracelets. Let's look and see some of the things we need in order to make our bracelets. We have a heat press. I'm going to use my Cricut heat press. It's set for 400. We're going to use also Cricut Infusible ink transfer sheets as well as pens. I have the bracelet, which is considered a blank, and a bracelet bender. I have a little dental tool to pull the tape off, a pen that I use to trace the outline on the paper that we're going to draw on, scissors to cut the outline out, butcher paper, a heat resistant mat, a heat resistant glove, and heat resistant tape. So let's move this stuff to the side and we will begin. So we have two examples that we're going to make. One is on a regular piece of copy paper, and we're just going to draw a design. If you are going to write a word, remember that you have to turn your design on the back, and it's hard to see, but I actually already traced out the design, the template for the bracelet. So if you wanted to write a word, you have to write it on the back. I probably need another sheet of paper underneath. And let's see. Have to write it on the back. It's hard to see. It's kind of hard to see. And then you have to turn it over and then color it in. It's easier to see with the white paper underneath. So for this example, I'm just gonna color the size. And I already know that the template kind of goes like this. So I'm gonna color the size. And I'm not an artist, so I'm sorry that you have to look at my work just to understand the concept. But art is in the eyes of the beholder. I'm just going to make a little rainbow of colors real quick. And if you are an artist or you just want to, write your favorite word to somebody or favorite saying or some type of affirmation you would like to remind yourself of daily, you definitely could do that with these pens. And then, like I said, you have to write the word love in reverse. And I wouldn't worry about trying to make everything perfect. I will more so believe that they will focus on the sentimental value. Oop. So that heart didn't look so well, so guess I'll make another row. And that's a good thing. You can make all kind of happy changes and allow it to evolve however you want to. And don't beat yourself up if the sides are not the same like my picture is. This is just us having fun. All right. And then let's just take this paper and let's do the same. Let's see if we wrote love in the middle. How that works. So I can see that the ink is still a little wet on this one. So I want it to dry. Next, we're going to take our heating pad out. Get the surface ready. Oops. And with sublimation, so that your ink does not stain your heat press, you always make a little sandwich. And make sure that if you're doing a cup or something, that your item is turned the correct way. So for this one, put it about here. Put a piece of tape down. And the reason you tape it is because you don't want your, sorry about that. The reason you tape it is because you don't want your substrate, which is your blank item, to move when you're pressing it, because that creates something called ghosting. And ghosting will make it look blurry. We don't want that. I'm just moving this up so they can be closer, have a little more balance. And so your sandwich is a piece of paper, your actual substrate, a piece of paper, your transfer, what you're going to put on it, and your substrate, and then another sheet of paper. Whenever you're using a heat press, like the Cricut Easy Press, make sure that the cord does not hit your paper or cause anything to move in an unexpected way, and that the heat press covers the area that you want to press. So you don't want the heat press to be on this end and then part of it not get pressed. So let's look. Hold the cord up. Place it and let it press for 50 seconds. We're halfway done. You either want to have a heat resistant glove handy, or a pick, or have your patience and wait for it to cool down. And so we're going to pick it up and make sure the cord doesn't do anything wacky. Set it to the side. With the light it's hard to see, but I can see that the ink sublimated through from the transfer. Gonna let it cool a little bit. The paper itself is not hot, but the metal is. Move the mat to help with the cooling process because the table is a little cooler. You always want to be safe. This is a heat resistant mat underneath. So that's my love design. My second love design. Just gonna let it cool just a little bit longer before I touch it. End up not using the gloves because I allow it to cool. But if you're gonna touch it, make sure you always have gloves on, especially if it just came from underneath the heat press. And so I don't know if you can see, kind of hard to see, but the ink transferred. The ink transferred onto the paper. So if we didn't have that paper there, it would transfer onto either your heat mat or your heat press, and every time afterwards when you go to use it, it will leave that image. So we have our two bracelets. Let's get our bracelet bender. Stick it in. Bend it back. Switch to the other side. Bend it back. Okay. Place it on your wrist. Turn it up. You bend it in as much as you like according to the size of your wrist. That's low. Let's do the other one. Bent that one too much. how 2 ways you can make a bracelet. Hope you enjoyed my short video on making bracelets.